shy accountant whispered one sentence in Mandarin, and exposed a hospital scam the CEO never imagined. The shy accountant stood frozen in the hospital corridor as fluorescent lights hummed above her head and the smell of antiseptic burned her nose, her hands shaking around a thin folder that weighed more than her entire career. She had spent years learning how to disappear, how to lower her eyes, how to survive unnoticed, yet in that single moment her quiet breathing carried a truth powerful enough to shake an entire hospital. One sentence, whispered in Mandarin under her breath as a habit of comfort, would soon unravel a scam so carefully hidden that even the hospital's celebrated CEO never imagined it could be exposed. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the quiet strength of ordinary people, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel KH Stories, where real emotions and hidden courage always find a voice. Her name was Lin Mei, an immigrant accountant who had learned early in life that silence was safer than attention. Numbers had become her refuge because they never judged her accent, her modest clothes, or the way she avoided eye contact. The hospital hired her because she was precise, invisible, and never asked questions. She worked in a narrow office stacked with files, listening to the distant sounds of rolling stretchers and anxious footsteps, never imagining that the suffering she heard outside the walls was being quietly converted into profit by people far above her pay grade. Each day, she reconciled invoices, verified billing codes, and followed procedures exactly as she was told, even when something deep inside her chest tightened with unease. The discomfort grew slowly, like a shadow stretching at sunset. She noticed repeated charges that made no medical sense, suppliers billing for equipment that never appeared on inventory lists, and patients with simple procedures somehow accumulating crushing debts. Lin Mei told herself she was overthinking, that she was too small to understand the larger picture. She remembered her father's words about keeping her head down in a world that rarely forgave mistakes, especially from people like her. So she worked late, double-checking numbers, hoping the patterns would dissolve if she stared long enough. But they did not. The numbers grew louder, more insistent, until they followed her home in her thoughts and haunted her sleep. She began to imagine the faces behind the accounts, elderly patients selling belongings to pay bills, families drowning in paperwork while trusting the hospital to heal, not exploit. Each spreadsheet felt heavier, each signature more complicit. Her shyness became a cage, locking her between fear and conscience, and the pressure built until even her quiet strength began to fracture. The turning point arrived on an ordinary afternoon when she was asked to prepare financial summaries for a visit from the CEO and board members. The hospital was preparing to celebrate record profits, and Lin Mei's calculations would help present a clean, impressive story. As she compiled the final report, she found a series of internal transfers masked as routine adjustments, cleverly designed to siphon money from patient care funds into shell accounts linked to executives. The discovery made her dizzy. Her fingers trembled so badly she had to rest them on the desk to steady herself, and instinctively she whispered a familiar Mandarin sentence to calm her racing heart, a phrase her mother once used to remind her that truth eventually surfaces no matter how deeply it is buried. She did not realize that someone was standing nearby. A senior compliance officer, fluent in Mandarin from years spent abroad, overheard the words and recognized the weight behind them. He did not hear defiance, he heard fear mixed with certainty. When he gently questioned her afterward, Lin Mei felt years of silence pressing against her throat. Every instinct screamed at her to retreat, but something inside her shifted. She thought of the patients' names hidden in rows of data and felt an unexpected warmth spread through her chest, a courage she did not know she possessed. What followed was not dramatic heroics but quiet persistence. Lin Mei shared her findings, one document at a time, her voice soft yet unwavering. Internal audits began discreetly, then urgently. The deeper investigators dug, the more rot they uncovered. Executives who once walked the halls with confidence grew tense, meetings were cancelled, and whispers replaced applause. The CEO, celebrated in magazines for innovation and leadership, watched in disbelief as the financial empire he trusted began to collapse under the weight of undeniable evidence. For Lin Mei, the days were filled with fear and sleepless nights. She worried about retaliation, about losing her job, about being blamed for chaos she never sought to create. Yet something remarkable happened as well. Colleagues who had barely noticed her before began to nod at her with respect. Patients received corrected bills and refunds. Departments previously starved of resources suddenly had funds restored. The hospital's glossy image cracked, but beneath it, something more honest began to emerge. When the scandal finally broke publicly, headlines focused on arrests, resignations, and millions recovered. Few mentioned the shy accountant whose whispered sentence marked the beginning of the end. Lin Mei did not seek recognition. She remained at her desk, still preferring the company of numbers, but she was no longer invisible to herself. She had learned that courage does not always roar, sometimes it speaks softly, in a language of the heart, at the exact moment it is most needed. As the hospital slowly rebuilt trust with the community, Lin Mei walked the same corridors she once feared, now carrying a quiet pride that did not need words. She understood that even the smallest voice could carry truth strong enough to challenge power, and that integrity, once awakened, could change lives far beyond one office or one spreadsheet. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that quiet people can hold immense strength, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others,